Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hurdle the Line. As ever, am your host, Fletch, and due to a minor error on my part, which includes coming up from work, crashing till I fall asleep, and then being an hour late for the recording, I only have one of my wonderful co-hosts with me today. I am so sorry to the rest of them, but show must go on, and with me today is Meg, who you will remember from last week. How are we, Meg?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
It'd be better if I didn't sleep in. Kind of, if that works at like 7 in the afternoon, 7 in the evening, 8 in the evening. Um, but it look is what it is. We're here. Start off with, we're just gonna drop a couple of little pieces of news that aren't related to. I believe something happened this weekend. I might need to talk about it a little bit. I don't know if you agree with me there, but
I mean, I don't know what you've been talking about, to be honest.
something happened this weekend. I'm gonna have to get the news up. I'll Google it. Something. Uh, but we're going to have to talk about it. Main piece of news, though, is that as of today, the day of recording, the new mock-ups of the Commanders' scheduled $2.7 billion stadium were released this afternoon, and I believe that that means that it is going to happen. I believe it's at the case of at the point of um, approval. Have you seen the mock-ups of
I've
it?
not seen the mock-ups. I've literally, like I said, you just seen the kind of news coming through before we came on live. But um, yeah,
It's
it looks interesting. It's going
It's
to be epic.
nuts. Um, if I can just really quick, uh, for those at home on YouTube, I believe I can just get a quick, uh, there we go. I'm gonna do a quick share of my screen. So if you're on YouTube watching this, then look over to the screen now. If not, then Google Commander Stadium, if you can. But that's what it's supposed to look like, apparently. Um, very, very interesting design. That's what it'll look like from the inside. And it will be on the site of the former RFK Stadium grounds in Washington, D.C. So they will return to Washington, D.C. Exciting times to be a Commanders fan, Meg. You just had your team turn around for the first time, well, just after years of hurt. Brand new $2.7 billion stadium. You got to be feeling
Yeah,
pretty good about yourself at the moment.
as an honorary Commanders fan, as you guys know, I've got like such a soft spot for Commanders. I think it's really good news for them, up and up, onwards, and they've got their franchise QB, I would say, pretty set. Some real key weapons that they've added to their team. I think definitely ones to watch, and only room for improvement now. Keep going upwards. So yeah, all good there, I think.
Under the terms of the deal, they've got it's again it'd be at least $2.7 billion invested by the Commanders and surrounding development, including restaurants, recreational areas, lodging facilities, and
Ooh,
more to utilize the 190-acre RFK campus. Only 11% of the entire grounds will be occupied by the stadium itself, producing room for up to 6,000 new housing units of which 30% are promised to be fixed as affordable housing. Listen, I live in Manchester. I have been bit by this promise. This Manchester is full of overpriced housing that nobody can afford. So just beware of that one, Washington. The district will also contribute $500 million to cover construction costs and other fees.
oh,
So the districts are paying for it. A little bit. They are contributing somewhat, but I'm sure they're going to get the money back. If that's the case, then the amount of money that stadium's going to bring and the new camp's going to bring, they're going to make a lot of money. It's a good investment. Now, not a lot of news happens over some weekends of the year because there's an event that's just so big, that's just so monumental that it just kind of takes up everything else and what everyone else does. It takes up what we do, what we eat, we sleep, we breathe. And to be quite frank, it wasn't this weekend. But something did happen this weekend. It was the NFL draft. You may have heard us speak about it for months, um, non-stop for the last 3, 4 weeks. Meg, I do believe that this was one of the first full drafts that you really immersed yourself into. First off, just give us a little insight into what was this draft like for you?
Like you said, it was one of the first ones that I've fully become immersed into last season whilst I was following football and I was already on the football fandom train, if you like. I was working that weekend because rookie error. I have learned the error of my ways here. Book it off. Just don't work that weekend. It's too important. You can't be missing stuff like this. So I did exactly that. I made sure I was not working. I made sure that my snacks were bought, my naps and sleep schedule was all sorted ahead of the draft, so I could really get into it. Um, I felt strangely overwhelmed, I would say,
Hmm.
because I felt like there was a lot to take in over those 3 days. Um, I don't think I was I did my mock draft. I've been working on mock drafts. I've been looking at, you know, what the top prospects were for months, like we all have.
Yeah.
I don't think anything could have prepared me for firstly how competitive I got and how defensive I got over my own mock draft. But secondly, just like that nerve-wracking feeling of just waiting for what the team was going to say, like who had they picked? And not even just my team, like in general, knowing the needs of the different teams, be like, are they going to get this guy? Are they going to make the right decision? Are they making crazy moves? We saw how the Falcons draft last year went for us. That blew my mind apart last season. And despite being fairly confident in the fact that we'd only, taken the defensive coaches over, in
Yeah.
my brain, I was like, I don't think emotionally I'm ready for another draft right now. I feel like I need some time. But luckily it went smoothly for us, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think I missed a pick all weekend, except maybe one time when I had a micro nap for 3 seconds, woke up and like realized that I'd missed one pick. So yeah, epic weekend. Loved it. Can't wait for the next one already.
Yeah. So thanks for a bit of just the first couple of minutes of just rubbing it in. Of all the smart people who were able to book it off, all the smart people who were able to not work throughout the draft. Well, I completely get where you're coming from. I think most NFL fans can completely attest to that first draft when you're fully immersed is just wow. And to be someone who's so early in their stage of just kind of following the NFL, it's a lot. It really, really is a lot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through round. I'll say round by round. I'm not gonna make you go through the seventh round draft picks and the UDFAs and things like that. We're not gonna do that. That's not how in depth we're going in. But we'll start with the first round and see where we go. A couple of storylines, maybe a couple of things that happened, and I want to get your thoughts on them. So I think there's no better place to start than the start. 1 a.m. rolls around, the chime, which I'm sure everybody is absolutely sick to death of by far now. The dun 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 dun, dun comes on. Tennessee Titans on the clock. Few minutes later, after an agonising wait, we all found out that it was shock to the world. Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami, who comes off the board.
Yeah.
Businesses we all thought.
Yeah, we'd all predicted that one, hadn't we? We'd literally for weeks been saying our top three picks were the top three, and we
Yeah.
universally agreed that Cam Ward was going first, I think.
Yeah. It was the obvious one. They may as well have handed him the playbook 2 months ago and just said, mate, just start learning it now. Like so I think the Jags did it with Trevor Lawrence a couple of years ago when he was drafted. It was He was so obviously the number one overall pick. They apparently just handed him the playbook a month before and just said, "Well, we're not trading the pick. We're taking you. Let's not make a secret about it. Just get a month head start on the playbook." Next comes up, we've got one of two players. It could have been any one of two players. It could have been Travis Hunter or it could have been Abdul Carter. No, but and the Cleveland Browns get on the clock. Then what happened was something none of us thought would happen. We get our first trade of the entire first round. The Jacksonville Jaguars come up from 5-2 and take that second overall pick. Didn't see it coming, but the pick, as you've just alluded to there, we knew who the pick was. We just didn't know that the Jags were going to be making it. Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, two-way player off the board. This comes through. What are you thinking when it just automatically comes up? Trade Jags on the
I
board.
just, I remember just thinking the Browns are browning. Like they just are. They just do themselves dirty every single time. Like I kind of a little bit see saw their point at that early stage. You know, trade up, get that first round pick for next season when it's a stronger draft. You, but then when you look at that compared to what they then went on to do, as in two quarterbacks,
Yeah.
when next year's quarterbacks are much, much stronger, what? It doesn't make sense to me when the Browns do things ever. You know, I'm not a Browns fan, as we know, but geez. I mean, fair play, Jags. You did well. Like, solid effort. 10 out of 10 for effort.
So hold on the quarterback talk because that's you living 2 days in the future here, Meg. You got that missed that
Sorry.
one of those magic eight balls. I don't know. But we're not there yet. But yeah, as you said, Travis Hunter. Listen, I don't know if I can speak for anyone else, but I kind of just went, oh shit, here we go. The craziness is on.
Yeah. I
The
think
Jag,
from that moment, I had, before it started, I had this feeling that there was going to be wild things happening. I didn't predict it would be that early, but I
no,
just felt like there was madness going to come, and it certainly did.
and we didn't think it. We thought it was gonna come. We didn't think it was gonna come as early, but we didn't also think it would be the Jags who kind of jumped in. We thought the Browns might want to trade back, but probably not. Any realistic trade partners that we thought people were going to trade out of that top five were going to be the Giants, maybe, and definitely the Patriots.
Yep.
Because we'd all been aware of this pre-draft trade idea that the Bears had with the Patriots, and if certain players are not on the board, then the Patriots are trading back with the Bears. None of that happened, but this one did. It was the obvious pick to go for. If you're going to trade up for someone, you go for the Heisman winner. And look, I don't know about anybody else, but a lot's been said about who Travis Hunter is. Luckily, the last month or so, it's all been good. I sat there and watched through his Heisman thing and the argument over whether it should have been Gente, whether it should have been Hunter, and how Hunter's this and Hunter's that. And this was all positive over the last month, but it's just he looked like a kid on Christmas. He looked like you just walked into Toys R Us and that was him it's been him for the last 3 days on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
Young man, dreams been realised. It's gotta be fun to see.
Oh, 100%. And I think that even the kind of interviews, the red carpet interviews he did just prior, he was absolutely electric with the energy that he had. He was so excited for what was to come. I think, you know, it was guaranteed for him that where he was going
Yeah,
early in the draft, round one. We knew that he wasn't still going to be sitting in that green room on day three. Um, but the energy he brought, it was just like you say, it was class to see. Class act and all positive. It's good to see that kind of humble appreciation for
yeah,
where you're at, I think.
yeah. Then anyway, next up off the board goes Abdul Carter. Listen, the generational talent, nobody, as you've said, also alluded to earlier on, top three picks. We all know who they were. We didn't know which one the order was going to be. We didn't think the Jaguars were going to pick, but the top three picks are off the board now.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So, as you mentioned, the trade offer between the Bears and the Patriots. Now, if Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are off the board, the Patriots were going to trade with the Bears back to 10, so the Bears could come up and get Gente. This didn't happen. The Patriots stayed on the clock, took Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU, as most people thought he would go as high as he did, and they go protect Drake May and had an
Yeah.
incredible asset to protect to protect their quarterback from last year. Solid pick all round.
Yeah, no, 100%. I had actually the next three picks I had predicted, to be honest, anyway, in my mock, and none of them were a surprise to me. Will Campbell deserved to go at four. He really did, in my opinion. And I think, like you said, Drake May needs that protection.
Yeah. Then next up, top five, we take the Cleveland Browns, newly selected at five after the trade with the Jags. They take the obvious choice at number five, Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of your Michigan Wolverines. Go blue. Another obvious pick, and I just want to just sidebar on this one. Kiss my ass to anyone who had him drafting outside the top 10. Anyone who had him sliding, kiss my ass. Generational blue chip talent. Just wanted to drop that one in there. But again, just a solid all round pick. Gets on that line with Myles Garrett. Neither of us are Cleveland Browns fans, but what we can appreciate is how that D line is going to attempt to murder a couple of quarterbacks this year.
100%. 100%. That is not nothing to be sniffed at, you know.
And look, the thing is, when you've got a division like the AFC North, when you've got elite quarterbacks you're going up against every week, like your Lamar Jacksons, like your Joe Burrows, like your Mason Rudolphs, just your elite quarterbacks. Moving on, just your elite quarterbacks. You got that D line is going to be nothing but a complete wrecking crew. Then we go on to who everyone thought. I mean, I thought I had him sliding. I just thought with the position that he's at, he's not going that early. But the Raiders take their guy, Ashton Gente, Heisman runner-up. No brainer. Again, that the Raiders needed it. He's the best talent on that board, arguably all
Yeah,
round.
no brainer for me. I had him going to the Raiders pretty much from the first iteration of my mock draft. I thought Raiders would be a good fit for him.
So to fly through the next three, we'll go up to just 10 picks. The Jets then take Armand Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. Again, solid pick there. Go and protect Justin Fields. Carolina Panthers take Territory McMillan out of Arizona. Scratched a couple of heads that one, I believe. The New Orleans Saints, who were tipped to take none only than Shedeur Sanders. Go and take Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. Go protect Spencer Rattler. Uh, and then finally, Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland out of, let me say this one more time, your Michigan Wolverines. Go blue. Tight end.
I was surprised by the Colston Loveland pick as early as that, given his injury. I think he's a great player. Um, know that obviously he's had surgery recently.
Yep.
He has, his team doctor or his doctor had to write to all the teams to say basically, look, don't worry about it. He's going to be good, but might miss a few of the earlier practices and stuff, not being at his full potential just yet. Think it was a bit of a surprise. I mean, I had him going in the first round. I just didn't have him going as early as
Yeah.
that. But then again, I think, given the situation at the Bears and the fact that the players that they were really going for early on pretty much had gone, you know,
Yeah.
not a bad pick for them. Not a bad pick.
Yeah. So I'm going to sit here and agree with you. I'm going to say I feel like Tyler Warner is the best tight end coming out of college without the injuries. But the best, that was their man. They took their man. They took the one they felt was best going to serve them. And it just so happens to be another Michigan. Wolverine, which I'm not complaining. I believe it's the first time since 1946 that two Michigan Wolverines have been taken inside the top 10. So just a little bit of Michigan history for you there. The Toro McMillan scratched a couple of heads. Maybe the Jags, the Panthers could have done a little bit more with that pick there. But overall, look, Toro McMillan had everyone. I had a lot of people as a top five pick.
Yeah,
Unbelievable talent.
I had him at 7, so you know, not far off. I think he deserves it. I think he really does.
Yeah, completely agree. Kelvin Banks, look, Saints have so many problems. Kelvin Banks is a fantastic addition, and that one's going to be fun for you guys going up against this year. Although, like I say, behind him is either Derek Carr or Spencer Rattler, so make of that what you
I'm
will.
all right. I feel like I'm pretty happy where I'm at, to be fair.
Next up, on the next run, we'll go up to 15. The 49ers take Michael Williams, defensive edge, out of the
Oh, dogs. Them
Gorgie.
Georgia Bulldogs.
That's the way it is. I've
Let's
come
go.
Gorgie. Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Booker, guard, out of Alabama. Miami Dolphins take Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, out of, I'm going to do it again, your Michigan Wolverines. Go blue. Indianapolis Colts take Tyler Warren, tight end, out of Penn State. And the Falcons take, do you want to tell us this one?
None other than Jalen Walker
Out of where?
out of my Georgia Bulldogs.
Out of the Georgia Bulldogs. That is another defensive end. Now that run seems I can't argue with any single pick there. I think that's a solid run.
Yeah, I would agree. And obviously, out of the kind of Bulldogs that I had my eye on where they were going, those two were the top of my list.
Yeah,
Mika Williams, incredible talent. And then you've got, I can now officially say our boy, Jalen Walker, who is decent on the edge, but decent linebacker as well.
yeah,
Versatile. We needed that. We really need to be able to make the moves. I mean, obviously, later in the first round, we jumped up and got another edge, but
yeah,
we needed that. We absolutely solidly needed Jalen Walker on our team. And actually,
yeah,
weirdly, I had been chatting on Instagram and sent him a message on Instagram just before the draft started and was like, "Oh, Jalen, can you make sure you come to Falcons?" So, you know, the boy's listening. He knows who to listen to already.
yeah. Um, Athens to Atlanta is not very far. That young man does not have to go very far. Stays in state. Very just a fortunate move all around for all parties. Solid pick. Tyler Warren. We had the Colts guy on hurdle the line extra, and all he could do was say we need a tight end. That's what we want. That's our number one position of need.
Well,
We
Tyler
want a
Warren
tight
is a
end.
good one to have.
And they get arguably the best tight end out of
Yeah.
the entire draft after another one fell. Kenneth Grant, solid. And look, I always say you can't go wrong with off. You just can't go wrong with the trenches. The Niners needed the trench help. And again, Cowboys, whatever keeps Dak Prescott upright. Then we get on the next run, we have Arizona Cardinals taking Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Mississippi. Cincinnati Bengals take Shamar Stewart, edge out of it, Texas A&M. The Seahawks take Gray Zabel, guard out of North Dakota State. Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Amika Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And the Denver Broncos take Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. Now, there's a couple I want to pick up on here. I'll start with the negative.
Yep, go for it. See if it's the
Now,
same as mine.
now, just because I support your Michigan Wolverines, go blue, is not why I'm taking this one and picking it out as thing. I think it's a bit of a head scratcher all around. Me, Craig Booker at 19 to the
Yep.
Buccaneers. I don't get it. You've got Chris Godwin, and well, I kind of get the whole. You've got Chris Godwin.
Mike
He's going to need
Evans.
a lot of money in a bit. Mike Evans is an old man, a very good old man, but still an old man. You're kind of securing something there for the future, but depending on given what was on the board, given what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have done with it, And given that Amika Egbuka, look, with all due respect to the guy, he'd have been available in. I feel like he'd have been available in a few picks when you're picking again.
Yeah,
Just a head scratcher for me.
yeah, I agree. Um, I know that I think Walter Nolan was a great pick for the Cards. I think a lot of teams had him on their watch list. Um, I didn't have him going as early as that, but I did have him going in the first round. Again, really decent talent. Gray Zabel, I know, was one that we spoke about quite a lot. Um, again, decent talent. Emeka Egbuka just wasn't, yeah, he wasn't on my radar at all.
It wasn't on mine as a first round pick, put it that way. He was on my
No,
radar as someone who would be very good value in the second, but he
yeah,
wasn't on my radar as a first round pick. The other one I kind of want to point out, well, one I wanted to point out was Gray Zabel, excellent pick. The Seattle Seahawks have had what I have continuously described as what can only be described as secret agents working on behalf of the 49ers and the Rams and the Cardinals on their offensive line last year. Either that or Geno Smith slept with one of the wives. Geno Smith's out in Seattle. Kind of slept with Gray Zabel's wife. So always a good start. Sam Darnold can't have done it either. So hopefully it's a good start from where we're at. But finally was Jahdae Barron to the Broncos. That is an unreal pick. Jahdae Barron is an incredible talent. I love the guy. Now pair him up with Patrick Surtain,
scary
and
things. Scary things are happening for the Bronx.
if I was Patrick Mahomes, I'd be thinking it's a dangerous pair of DBs to have in my division there that I've got to go play twice a year.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Um, I think that fits so well with the Broncos as well, just with where they're at at the moment. I think Jahdae Barron is a great person that will just slot into the way that they are playing right now and just elevate.
Yeah. Um. Next up, I'm going to give this pick a pick on its own. 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. Still on the board. We've all said it. We've all thought it. We thought he might go at 9, and he's still there. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting for Shedeur Sanders' name. Roger Goodell
Yeah,
comes on stage and he announces that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the 21st pick of the 2025 NFL draft, they take Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. And everyone goes, "What?
yeah, yeah.
You have Mason Rudolph.
Who is
Where's the
obviously a
quarterback?"
franchise generational talent quarterback,
Obviously,
obviously.
obviously, but you need to secure yourself for the future.
Yeah,
Where's the quarterback? Where's Shedeur Sanders, the one that we've just said for the last again weeks? This is a deadlock pick. If he doesn't go to the Saints at number 9, he's not there. He's not
yeah.
there.
The- mm. He's in his custom built draft room
Still
at
in
home.
his custom built draft room, not taking phone calls. Well,
Well,
that's not strictly true. And I want to throw this back up as well because it actually has something to do with pick 7 of the NFL draft. It also has something to do with this little team in the NFC South by the name of the Atlanta Falcons and their defensive coordinator, who, if it existed in America, would be sued for GDPR breaches.
not
This
half,
quarterback,
right?
this quarterback managed to get a phone call over the weekend. Now Shedeur Sanders slid. Shedeur Sanders, I'm gonna ruin the rest of the first round for you. Did not go in the first round like we all predicted for the last few months. If last year, as the season started, I told everyone the number one betting favourite to go number one overall was Shedeur Sanders. Now that was pre-season lines. That means nothing. That's just a load of hyperbole. Vegas took a lot of money off people, and they are laughing at you all. But Shedeur Sanders doesn't go. However, in that meantime, he does get phone calls.
Right. Can we just right? Because as a Falcons fan, okay, I'm not saying that this is okay. I think, and the Falcons are not saying that this is okay. They have released statement, Jeff Ulbrich's son, Jax, has been forced to issue or has issued an apology to the Sanders family and personally to Shedeur, as well as to Armand Membu, as well as some others, I believe. I so basically just rundown of what happened. Apparently, Jeff Ulbrich had left the iPad that had all the draft picks, phone numbers open at his home. His son thinks it's hilarious to just note a few of those numbers down and make some prank calls during the draft.
And
These phone numbers exclusively given as draft lines. They are just for taking draft phone calls
these
for some of them.
these prospects have every prospect has burner phones, and that's where they have the number that the friends have. It's the number that all the random people have that could pretend. So when you start getting phone calls on that number, goodbye. Someone will get it. You have friends, they have numbers. Someone will get hold of it. But they get burner phones with a number that they only give to NFL execs. That's it. That's the only place, or whatever paperwork they file with the NFL for the draft for teams to contact them. That's the only thing that gets that number. So there's only one way you can get that number, and that is by breaching the data of the NFL execs. And as you've just said, Jeff Ulbrich's son, Jax. Now, Jeff, you call your son Jax, you're asking for it to happen. Don't care. What a stupid name for a child, right? But yeah, say he was at home. He's at Ole Miss. Comes home, visits parents, sees the iPad, and just sees one hell of an opportunity. Goes and does it. They also rang a couple of prospects, including Tyler Warren, when the Jets were picking at number 7. They gave him a phone call, among a couple of others. And then, do you know what they did? They had the really smart idea to film it and put it on the internet, because that's what smart people do. They film
Of
it and put
course.
it on the internet, and then a couple of days later, you write some statement. Jeff Ulbrich is apparently not in any serious trouble at the end of the day. If you're going to trust someone, if you've had your whole career like this, you should at least be able to trust your son with not to go around snooping around sensitive data and taking it. But lessons learned. They're going to learn how to do this in future. But I think going forward, I think some coordinators, they're not going to get certain pieces of information anymore, just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt sorry. I genuinely felt sorry for any of the prospects that got those phone
Yeah.
calls. Did I think it was just maybe a little bit of a joke that went too far? Yeah. Did I think it was a little bit funny? Maybe. But not acceptable, ultimately. We can all agree. Not in those situations,
I think
once in a lifetime situation we've got going there.
all you end up really doing is putting your dad's career at jeopardy. That's all
Yeah.
you've really done by the end of it. It's like you're not some random kid. You're a defensive coordinator's son. And if look at the end of the day, like, it sounds like he's gonna get away with it. Or said get away with it. Jeff Ulbrich didn't actually do anything wrong. Um, sounds like he's not going to be particularly punished for it, but you could have seriously put your dad's whole career in jeopardy here. Um,
Yeah.
so I imagine that young man is going to get still not going to be people's friends on around the Thanksgiving dinner table when it comes back
Mhm.
round. Um, next up, next few picks, we get Amarian Hampton goes to the Chargers. Matthew Golden comes off the board and goes to the Packers. Welcome to Kirby Joseph's back pocket there, Matthew. Donovan Jackson goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Jackson Dart, then the QB that comes off the board next to Mississippi. And I just want to just hang on. I'm gonna Pennywise. Sorry, I was calling it. Um, I called it. Jackson Dart is the name that everybody needed to watch as the rise of the one who could be sneaky and go early.
Yeah. I mean,
Getting decent run there.
I again, I had Jackson Dart going in the first. I had big. I thought he would go at the Steelers to be honest, because I had Shedeur Sanders going to the Saints. But I have seen a lot about Jackson Dart and a lot about his character being questioned and a lot about things that happened whilst he was at college and as a kid. But ultimately, a good all rounder that I think is gonna grow up in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think he's quite young, he's quite, green. He needs a lot of shaping into the kind of young man that he's gonna be. But again, I think a great prospect there. A real great prospect.
yeah,
You know, I get excited about things like that where you see those picks that you're just not quite sure, not 100%, are they gonna, go in the first, are they gonna go early second? And you see them getting that chance and how much it meant to those individuals was for me it was one of the highlights to see just how
yeah,
much it meant to some of them.
yeah.
Um just to quickly recap on that Steelers pick, because I feel like we focused on
Right, yeah,
um
yeah. No,
Shedeur, but
you're
for
right.
Derek Harmon, just like a quick mention that the most tragic event of the draft
Yeah,
was not Shedeur Sanders not getting picked. It was the fact that Derek Harmon got the draft phone call from the Pittsburgh Steelers, immediately went to the hospital to spend the last few hours with his mum, who then passed away a few hours after he'd been drafted. Um, just I think that is worthy of note for
yeah,
that young man. The most bitter, well, I mean, we spoke about it. Um, we had a chat about it as it was happening and stuff, and as it was coming out, and just you know thoughts with with him, because that is
yeah,
awful. What a bittersweet night to have, that you're drafted in the first round and then your mum dies straight away. Like,
yeah.
lovely that she got to see him drafted, but also just worth a mention, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. And do you know what? Thank you for actually pulling me up on that one. Appreciate it. You're absolutely right to bring that one back to it. And like I say, we spoke about it at the time. Bittersweet, I don't think covers it. One of the greatest days of your life is then followed up by that. The whole family, our thoughts are with you, but that's got to be, and as you say, at least if you can take anything from such a heartbreaking situation, because that's not just anyone you lose, that's your mum.
Yeah,
That in her dying hours, she got to watch her son's dream become a reality. And that's just so beautiful for him and for her to have that before she went. And you
yeah,
kind of hear of, I don't know the situation and I don't want to speculate and I don't want to throw it in there, but you kind of hear of patients who are right on, like people in comas and whatnot, who you kind of, you're trying to let them go, but there's an event or something, and the person just kind of hangs on until it
yeah,
happens, and then something like that. And
yeah.
once
It definitely
someone's
felt that
drafted,
way,
she could
didn't
let
it?
go.
It
Um,
was, and it's beautifully tragic, I
yeah.
think.
Um, but absolutely props to you, Derek Harmon, and look forward to seeing you wreck it as a Steeler. Though the next few picks going into the Jackson Dart one, though, in comes the newfound chaos that we all thought we had with pick two, but then we don't have it up until pick 25. The record for the lowest amount of trades in the first round of all time, the modern draft era, is three. We had one at pick two, and we thought, here we go. And then we get to pick 24 and think, this might be the least amount of trades of all time in the common draft era. Then it up steps the New York Giants, who take Jackson Dart, as you've just eloquently mentioned, and I completely agree with every single point that you've made there. Still not quite there yet, though. We need another trade to get us to not the least of all time. And then up comes a hero that all 31 teams wanted. The Falcons really didn't want to be this hero, though, and the Falcons jump in. They swap with the LA Rams, take James Pierce Jr., and all we can really say, by the way, before I just mention, and I'm aware of time, so what I want us to do is let's get us through this first round. We'll mention some other little bits, hopefully, if we can, and we won't dwell too much on it. And what I'll say is I'll pass this next bit on to the college football UK guys. They can talk the last couple of days. Um, if you are a UK based Houston Texans or LA Rams fan and you stayed up to watch the draft and watch your team pick, then I am so sorry. I am so sorry you got to 3:30 in the morning and they just said,
Nah.
you absolutely not. Don't talk to us ever again. That's horrible. But James Pearce Jr., now he's someone in
Concerns.
our mock drafts. Last week he fell a little bit, not this far. Concerns about his attitude out of Tennessee.
Uncoachable. Uncoachable was the word from the combine.
That and the what was it? The Senior Bowl.
The Senior Bowl,
Not happy with
apparently,
him at the Senior Bowl.
they and multiple coaching staff coming out, and multiple scouts coming out saying this kid is going to take a lot. I think he is a weapon. I think he's very good at what he does. Um, I'm not sure, and this is me being brutally honest, as always, I'm not sure our coaching staff is strong enough to handle him. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think with a few of our key players might be able to check him. I'm not sure our coaching staff is strong enough.
Yeah,
I mean, Jeff Ulbrich can't even look after his own son, so,
or his
you
own
know,
iPad.
or his own
Um,
iPad.
so well, I mean that's an excellent, excellent point. We shall see. Falcons fans were not happy with it. We had theories of where this extra first round from next year was going to end up coming back to them. That never
Hmm.
happened.
No, we did not.
Next up, though, the Baltimore Ravens take Malachi Starks. Nothing needs to be said on this. Georgia Bulldog, excellent, excellent pick at safety. He'll go up along that elite level of those elite DBs that just kind of need that extra bit of help. Excellent pick all round.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
The Detroit Lions decided to completely underwhelm me at 4 o'clock in the morning and take Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Now, I woke up, I went to sleep. I said to you at the time, I think I sent you a message and I just went, do you know what? I don't, I'm underwhelmed by this. It felt like a very, okay. No, in
Yeah,
Brad Holmes we trust is a phrase I say a lot. I said it throughout the draft weekend. I said it before the draft. In Brad Holmes we trust. I truly trust in what my GM does. It's a great position to be in to say that I trust. If he drafted a kicker, okay, I may have some issues with it in the first round, but I'd go, do you know what? That man knows best. Better than I. So I was okay with it. I was content with it, but I was underwhelmed by it. Woke up on Saturday morning, well, Friday morning, walked into work and I just went, I like it. I like it. We've got a solid interior. We're solid on the interior. We've got Lynn McNeil and DJ Reader, but DJ Reader we need to future proof DJ Reader. He's only got 1, maybe 2 years left in him.
yeah,
Tyleik Williams was an absolute wrecking ball. Again, from watching the game where Michigan did butter the Ohio State University for the fourth time in a row. That's just a thing that happened. Um, he
a
was
little
a
thing,
wrecking ball.
casual
Just a
thing.
little thing that happened, totally
Yeah,
insignificant to the fact that 4 times in a row, um, he was a wrecking ball, an absolute wrecking ball. Lynn McNeil will be out for a chunk of the season after the injury he picked up towards the end of last season, and just while he's getting back to it, that's an insurance policy. That is a fantastic insurance possibility with insurance policy, and the premiums you pay on it may seem high, but what you are going to get as a payout in return is more than likely going to be fantastic.
yeah,
Washington Commanders take Josh Connolly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon. Jaden Daniels, you are welcome. Safety
yeah.
first for the young man. Buffalo Bills take, and by the way, I want to single out this guy in a second, but the Buffalo Bills take Maxwell Hairston. Again, I had them taking Trey Amos.
Yeah, I did as well.
DB, but either
Well,
way, DB on the board. Maxwell Hairston is fantastic out of Kentucky. Can't go wrong. Completely great pick. Then Howie Roseman does it again. We can't keep letting him get away with this. Are the two of the phrases that I've heard all weekend. He takes Jihad Campbell, linebacker slash edge, at 31. NFL owners, what are we doing? He does it again. The man don't miss.
yeah, and that was another traded spot, wasn't it?
Yeah, they jumped up one pick to get
One
him with the
place,
Chiefs.
which
So
was odd.
you think so, but the Chiefs might have been like this is what I always used to think it was odd that a team would trade up one place to go and get something because well the Chiefs are well the Eagles weren't gonna take so the Chiefs weren't gonna take who you wanted, so they'd still be there. But actually what you realise is the Chiefs might have just been simply open to trade and the next person who was ringing down their phone wanted James Pearce Jr. Not James Pearce Jr., Jihad
Yeah,
Campbell. So it
yeah,
was a case of either we answer the phone to the Browns and they come up and they take Jihad Campbell, or we give Jihad Campbell to you. It's up to you, but either way, he's going at 31 and it ain't gonna be us who takes him. Name was your best price for jumping up that
yeah,
spot. So it does like it for some reason has only just clicked in my head this weekend why teams do it. It's not because of the team in front of you. It's the teams behind you are making phone calls to get in front of you that do it. Someone tried to stop Howie Roseman from getting Jihad Campbell. Someone did it. Whoever it was who was making them phone calls. Thank you for trying. Try harder next time. And then Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State, goes at 32nd pick. We all knew that that's where the Chiefs needed to go this year. And a solid, solid pick, even though that's another one who lost 4 times in a row to Michigan. Yeah, that's another one who lost 4 times in a row to
yeah,
Michigan. Another solid run of picks, but I want to just give a shout out to Maxwell Hairston here. If you watch the draft live, you watch the green room. Maxwell Hairston's room was quite well, his kind of section of the green room was quite well pitted to be quite near where the tunnel is to go through to the stage. Granted, that's all night. Nobody was happier for every man who walked through that tunnel than Maxwell Hairston.
yeah,
He dapped up every player, and as you walked off, he had that proud parent smile for every single one of them. This wasn't just the, oh, cool, man, I'm so happy for you. They walk off, and he's like, well, okay, let's get back to it. Let's wait for my phone call. He watched them go down with a smile on his face, and they all came back to the green room for pick number 30 to go and dap him up and watch him go down and let him have his moment. And I just thought,
yeah.
what
Goosebumps.
beautiful moment. And I'll bring up Shedeur Sanders again in a minute. It does need to be addressed. But among all the falls, among all the dramas, among all the prank phone calls, among all the people who fall and the character concerns and all the things, we do tend to forget as media and as people and watching the draft that the beautiful part of it, we mentioned it kind of for the most part with Derek Harmon. 32 young men that night watched their dreams become a reality. And some of them were at home with their families and their friends and teammates and coaches from college. I imagine how good that must be for someone from North Dakota State to go in the first round.
Yeah,
How big that moment is, not just for them, but for the school. And then people like Maxwell Hairston just kind of epitomize this whole you're watching someone's dream come true, and he was part of the whole night, deserved this moment, got his moment, and it's what the draft's about. It's why we love the draft.
yeah. No, 100%. And I think equally on the flip side of that, you've got a lot of young men sitting waiting on that phone call that never comes and or that doesn't come for a long time if you're certain people. Um, and that equally must be soul destroying for in a lot of ways. You know, you've got a lot of guys who know that they're not a first round pick, pretty, convincingly know that they're not a first round pick. But I've got good hopes and think maybe top of the second, maybe, early third. And then as that weekend goes on and the phone's just not ringing, that must be absolutely soul destroying as well. So again, I'll go back to that phrase that we used earlier with what's his name? Harmon.
Yeah,
Um, beautifully tragic, I think.
yeah,
Beautiful moments, but also, some it's that yin yang, isn't it? The
yeah.
balance of life. You win some and you lose some, I guess.
Some are having the greatest days of their lives. Some of them are just frustrated, phone watching. Um, I want to know how many because we don't get to see too many of the actual videos of people on day three because there's only so many cameras the NFL can get into homes and stuff.
Yeah.
How many of those were taking phone calls at Walmart thinking my day's over, I'm not gonna bother, and they've gone to Walmart, they've gone to buy a cabbage, then they get a phone call off the GM of the Indianapolis Colts, and it's like, oh crap. Um, that ended the first round. We go to bed. Some of us are up half an hour later, and go to work because we didn't get the opportunity of our jobs to book it off because we schools work the school holidays this year because of the late Easter. But there's some
I'm a
names on the board.
teacher, literally a teacher, and I managed it.
No comment. Jaden Higgins, Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden, uh, Will Johnson, Donovan Ezeraku, Nick Scowerton. There are a number of names still left on the board who we all
Mike
thought from
Green.
day one. Mike Green. Now, Mike Green, one thing we have failed to mention, and we did not mention last week, that he does have a number of legal issues in his past, which may have been working against him. Will Johnson's knee, it came out before the draft that his knee might actually be degenerative, and he's not worth a first round pick purely on that injury alone. Completely take talent out of it. You might only get 4 years out of him. Why give him a contract that comes with a fifth year option when you can give that to someone else who will be playing in 5 years? We'll see with someone like Will Johnson. Mason Taylor was still on the board. JT Marley was still on the board. Lots of excellent names still on the board going into day two. And as I said on the day, Shamar Turner as well, by the way, throwing that one out there. Trey Amos just makes for an exciting day two. And who's going to
Yep.
go? And then straight off the board flies a couple of very exciting names. We're not going to get into too many details. Luther Burden, the third, though, that was an exciting pickup for the Chicago Bears. Then QB3 lands off the board. It's his time, Meg. He's finally going to get drafted.
Can't wait.
Tyler Shaw out of Louisville finally gets his moment and he goes to the New Orleans Saints.
Yes, he does.
Okay, that's the thing that happened. We carry on. Then
We
another
actively
team.
feel like we are making snubs now from the QBs from this point on, realistically being taken. It is we are
Starts
actively snubbing you.
starts to feel personal. Starts to feel like they are specifically just not calling anyone but Shedeur
Anyone
Sanders'
but.
his name.
Yeah.
Um, it's the only real story I get. It's the only story that came out of the last 2 days. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. He's spoken about it a billion times. Everyone's spoken about it. He finally goes at pick 144 to the Cleveland Browns, who only a couple of rounds before selected Dylan fucking Gabriel.
I
Dylan
mean,
fucking
who's
Gabriel.
picking who? The Dylan Gabriel.
Now the
Uh,
Cleveland Browns. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
no, who's picking two quarterbacks? And not the one that was a potentially top 10 pick, not the Cleveland Browns.
Um. So that QB room is wild.
There's five in there, isn't there? Five?
Last
You've
I
got
checked,
two.
it was six.
Oh, maybe it's six. Maybe I'm
Sure,
wrong.
it was six.
We've got
Um.
Pickett. We've got
I do this to
no.
me now.
I mean,
So they've got Deshaun Watson.
yeah.
They had
Who's
Kenny
listen?
Pickett.
Yeah.
Then they had Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur
Shedeur
Sanders.
Sanders.
That's four. And
That's
I'm
four.
sure there's one or two more. Pretty sure they don't have a depth chart that's long enough.
I mean, yeah. It's crazy. It is actually crazy, if you ask me. I just the Browns be Browning. As I said at the start, I feel like full circle, the Browns be Browning.
Uh,
But they didn't even look happy when they did draft him. It felt like it had been a somebody's got to take him. Anybody?
Flacco. Flacco. That's the
Flacco,
other one.
there's the one.
Joe
That's the
Flacco.
one.
Now that I would have killed to be a fly on the wall in the Sanders household this weekend. Now what I would double kill to be a fly on the wall for is to be in the room that consists of Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Now that has all the makings of a reality television show. This doesn't feel real. This feels Big Brother like. And if you
Yes.
are CBS or HBO even, I am calling up Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry right now and saying, please, for the love of God, can we do Hard Knocks with you,
Yeah.
please?
Yes.
This is blockbuster.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. It is wild. Absolute wild. I can't even. I mean, I think Deshaun Watson, realistically, probably not going to be around there much longer. He's, injured. His character's questionable. His just Deshaun Watson.
That's
Blech.
questionable might be understatement of the
Yeah, I
goddamn
was
century.
being nice. You know that I'm never nice about him either, but you know, um, I just think even just taking Deshaun Watson out of that, you've still got. I feel sorry for Kenny Pickett. I do. I feel like he's just going to be there, like, hello.
Someone please think of poor Kenny Pickett in all of this. It's not a statement I
Someone
never
give him
thought
a
I'd hear
call.
anyone say after a draft.
Give the lad a call. Make sure he's okay.
Just just poor Kenny Pickett. Now, day two, uh, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Just because, again, there's so much we could start talking about. If we do, we run for a million years, and it's
Yep.
just us two, and no one needs that. Um, are there anything else of note though that you would like to mention? Any steals, any falls, anything that you want to bring up from the day two and three of the draft?
I don't think so off the top of my head, to be fair. I've made a few notes of Ravens did particularly well. I think Raiders with Jack Bet at round two, very well. Um, yeah, there is so much to cover and talk about realistically. Um, that, like you said, it's a story for another day, really, isn't it? But overall, I feel like I am very happy with where things ended up, and I think we have got an interesting season ahead.
Very, very much so. And if you stuck it out with us, then number one, thank you so very much. And number two, with that interesting season ahead, you can stick with us at Hurdle the Line for the next few months as we lead up to the season, and then you'll have us twice a week throughout the season again. You lucky people. If you are interested in the 2026 NFL draft, because you know what, it's never too soon to start preparing for next year. It isn't. I've already started mock drafting. That's a lie. I just hope someone in that. I just hope someone right now is having a very visceral reaction just to mock drafts and whatnot. But on that note, on Wednesday night, the College Football UK Gentlemen, we will be recording. We'll talk a little bit about the draft, but we're going to start talking about prospects that you need to know for next year. Prospects that you need to be watching in college football this year. So if I were you, I would go and check it out because I have my God, Meg, the work I've done this weekend on next year's draft. Next year's draft hasn't even finished yet. I've got an extensive list. I've got 10 players at every position that you need to look out for this year,
True.
which was a lot of work, but a lot of fun as well. We're going to be going through prospects for 2026 that you need to know ready for next year. That's going to be really exciting. We're going to get you through the off season ready for college football. In the meantime, if you want to get the Patriots side of things, you can go over to the Patriots touchback. And if you just want to be with us a little bit more, if you want us to help you get through that painful off season, then head down there. If you're on YouTube, it's right down there. The description box of the episode. If you are on audio only, head to the app that you are listening on. And there's a little box there which has some text in it. It starts with like this is Heard on the Line. Head into there. There's a link in there. Head join our Discord. We'd love to have you. We'd love to come and chat with you. And we'd love to get you through the off season and get through it together because this is painful time. Up until late July, this is painful time. We've got the schedule release. Oh, that was it. That was the piece of news. The 14th of May is the NFL schedule release. That'll be released. It's normally around 9 p.m. GMT on the day. It's 4 p.m. Eastern. Um, no, it's not. I think it's like 8 p.m. Eastern. So it ends up being like 1 in the morning here. The best part about that is, number one, teams release their schedule release videos, which are always absolute gold. What have a
Brilliant.
lot of fun. Chargers are always incredible. The Titans had a really good idea a couple of years ago and went and butchered it last year. Yeah, just the team videos. But we'll go through the schedule, and obviously for the day or two before it, they start releasing individual fixtures. Um, so expect by like the 13th of May or early on the 14th of May, we'll know who's going to be the London game opponents. We'll know who the international series opponents are. We'll know a lot more. Get us up into that until then, and then like I say, it's crazy season. June. May the Lord have mercy on all of us. So with that in mind, let's get into the off season together. Join our Discord. Come follow us on all the socials. Heard on the line. Asleep at Work Network. Follow Ballers Meg. Follow Lions Guy Fletch on all of the socials as well. Come and talk with us. We'd love, love, love to chat with you. And that leaves me to say that next week I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't got a fucking clue. It's
A
in there
surprise.
somewhere. It's in there. It'll be a surprise for all of us next week.
Can't wait.
But do join us anyway because there will be an episode. See you next week, guys.
See you later.